Welcome back to another episode of Global Card Collectors. Today we have back on the program Seth at Soccer Card Corner. He was on with us, I think, a little less than a year ago, and this is his second appearance on the show. How you doing today, Seth?
I'm good. Happy to be back. Thanks for having me on again.
Always fun. Seth, I thought of Seth recently because he is a Mohamed Salah collector and, of course, a Liverpool fan. And magical season. How has that been the last? I mean, I guess all year it was pretty fun, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of surreal. I would say like the beginning, like new manager, didn't really buy anybody in the summer, like almost zero additions. And was kind of running it back, like hoping for maybe Champions League, maybe like a run in one of the cups or something. And the whole thing was just kind of surreal. It was like kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and then they beat City twice in pretty convincing fashion. And then they had a lot of those wins where when you win the title, you have these wins that you kind of pull out that you don't really deserve, but you find a way to get them done. And then before I knew it, it was like they had a 15-point lead, and it's like, oh, I guess this is the thing. And then even in the Champions League, I mean, they lost to PSG in the round of 16 in penalties, which at the time, they lost at Anfield, so you're like, oh, that's like a disappointment. But then PSG ran away with the with the Champions League, so that turns out to be not, So all in all, I mean, yeah, magical season. I think the Premier League for Liverpool is definitely probably carries a bit more weight than like other things do for other clubs, just because of their history, but also like their history recently of not really winning it. So it sounds like they're gearing up to buy a lot of guys in the summer too. So hopefully that means they'll be locked and loaded for another run next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with your coach. I'm kind of blanking on his name, Slot.
Slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was on Feyenoord and really lifted them up. And one of my very good friends is a Feyenoord supporter, and I got to kind of experience it through that. And so he was devastated when he left, and clearly he had a huge role, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even like Salah and like some of the players have talked about just like how hands-on he was and like communication. Not to necessarily say that like Klopp was a bad communicator, but it seemed like they highlight some differences, and I think just being able to like join a team like that with those types of players and just keep them at the very top is pretty remarkable.
Uh, any interest in Orkun Kokcu? He's on Benfica now. He's been linked because he was like the player of the year under Slot in the Eredivisie, uh,
Okay.
and Turkish guy. So I was kind of
Okay.
aware of him. I
Nice.
might have a really good card of his or not.
Nice.
So I'm kind of like hoping for a move there. But any insight on that?
Yeah, no insight, although I know that we like to buy guys from the Portuguese league. So
Yeah.
maybe,
All
you
right.
know,
They're definitely
I
been
know there's a
rumored.
lot of I know there's a lot of Florian Wirtz buzz right now, talking about like $130 million bid or something like that. So that'll be a big one if that gets over the line.
Okay. I mean, you'd be excited about that, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. They tell me, everyone tells me he's super good, and if you're paying that much for a player and he's 22, like he must be, but it's a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, they have it, but it's just a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, it's a different I don't know. It's a different thing in soccer, of course, because there's no salary cap, so who cares?
Yeah, it's like whoever's bankrolling it, if they're willing to pay it. I
Yeah.
think there's like financial fair play where they can only like have so many like so much net spend or something, but I don't know. Like nobody ever really gets busted for that, so it's kind of a free for all it seems.
Right. Well, I've kind of I mean, for a few reasons, become a bit of a Liverpool fan. A kind of a new friend even got me a jersey
Oh,
for my birthday this year. And it just kind of feels like the natural. I've always struggled to choose a team in EPL, and I'll just bandwagon at this point. And it's historically it feels like the right. It's a good choice if you're not attached to something, I feel like.
Yeah, I think I started becoming a Liverpool fan. It was the first year that NBC was like really leaning into showing like a lot of matches. And I was always like a soccer fan, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this, and I'm just gonna find a team. Like a te I'm eventually I'm gonna a team's gonna stand out." Well, for some reason, like the first 3 or 4 weeks, Liverpool was like one of the highlighted matches, and that was the year with like Suarez and Sturridge where they almost won the title, and it was just like super exciting. So within like 3 or 4 matches, I was hooked, and then that was kind of it. So they
Right
kind of
on.
picked me in a way. I don't know. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. And well, yeah. So I mean, I know you best as well, two things, I guess. And you talked a lot about this on the previous episode with you're collecting the 2017 Topps Chrome Gold Refractors. I'd say that's a big pillar. I want to talk about that, see where you are, check in there. We can do that first, maybe, and then, but secondly, Mohamed Salah, and um, you've had some interesting pickups in the last year since we spoke. Even you've done basically exactly what you said you would. So you're very consistent. I was telling you beforehand, I admire your focus and such. So yeah, how is that set going? I mean, it must be getting harder and harder the longer it goes.
Yeah, it is. So I think I'm actually at so there's 99 cards. I think I have 95.
Wow.
But I've had 95 for a while. And there's a couple issues. One of the issues is that two of the players are Ronaldo and Mbappe, so it's like two of the most expensive. And I've seen both of them come up, but it's sort of just I think the Mbappe stuff is I don't want to say overpriced, but I feel like there's going to be more opportunities there in the future, and so I also kind of just want to see like what it goes for. Like I think one went on Card Hobby recently for like a PSA 9 for like almost $10,000. So it's like still pretty expensive. Um, and then so it's like those two are just cost is a factor. And then the other two, one is Kaylor Navas, which there was a PSA 9 on ComC, but it was listed like higher than I thought it should go. And I was kind of holding out for a 10 or like finding one to grade. And then, of course, it just disappeared and now I can't find it. And then the last one, which I've still not ever seen to this day. So if anybody listening to this has one, is Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. Um, there's two oranges on ComC, but I can't find a gold. And so, yeah, it's been kind of fun because I'm at the point now where if any of those pop up, it'll be really exciting. But it's also been like there hasn't been a lot of progress. I would say the only progress I've made is I've graded a bunch. So I'm starting to get a lot of them back in like PSA 9, PSA 10. And then I'm also seeing, I think I have like 5 or 6 that I didn't send in for grading because I just didn't think they would get a PSA 9 or 10. And so now the question is, do I want to try and upgrade those or find like a better copy of those? Uh, and then similarly, like at some point, do I want to upgrade from PSA 9s to PSA 10s? I don't think that's that important to me, but I don't know. It's also like there's like a perfectionist aspect. I mean, some of them I won't probably won't be able to afford, like a messy PSA 10. But yeah, and then the cool thing is though is like I've seen other people start to collect the set too. So it makes it a little more difficult to find cards, but it's also kind of cool to see other people, even people who are traditionally, I think like Cajun Cardboard. I don't know if you know him. He
Yeah,
like a Michael Jordan collector, but now he's collecting the 2017 gold set, which is cool to see other people, you know, gravitating towards the set.
that I thank you because I was trying to remember. I saw it somewhere that someone was starting it, and it was Cajun Cardboard.
I think he's trying to do it all in PSA 10, which will be pretty phenomenal to see that completed.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I remember he bought a Holland card maybe 2 years ago or something. He dabbles in soccer for sure. I think he like coaches it or something. He had he likes it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know very well, but yeah. So you do rock card hobby. I was curious about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like I actually can find, well, it's kind of a mix because like certain cards or certain players, I don't want to say they're getting shilled over there, but they're going for like way more than what they do in the States. But then there's other cards where, you can get them for 60% of what they'd go for on eBay. And so it's not as easy as it maybe sounds, me just saying that, to like find the arbitrage, but I've just noticed being on both, like different cards will go for vastly different amounts.
I've noticed that in my experience as well. Yeah, you could arbitrage things that way. Modric. I finally picked up a Modric on card auto. It's 2022 Archives Inc. And it was going for like $100 more on Card Hobby than than on eBay, and it was just sitting there as an offer for like a couple weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I finally, and then he dropped the price, and anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think you can find that arbitrage, but not that that's not your point, obviously. Mbappe, yeah, I just feel like the longer you wait, the lower you'll pay, right? At this point.
Hopefully. Or maybe I'll just, make more money throughout my life or something, and then I'll be able to afford it, or, hopefully time is my friend with that one.
I mean, the Ronaldos aren't going to be easy either, though. I mean,
No.
those go for less than Mbappe's, or
I think so because I want to say Ronaldo 9 went for like, I mean, even Messi 9s I think go for like similar to that. Like I think Mbappe, because it's like his quote unquote rookie card. And I think that, is what drives up a lot. Plus he's still relatively young, I suppose.
Mhm.
Now he plays for Madrid. So I think there's a lot of factors that, plus I think a lot of, I mean, I don't know, but I think a lot of people who bought Mbappe in the last 5 years, like I don't think anybody really has like a low entry point. So there's not as many people willing to just part with it. Even if the market, as we discussed a little earlier before we were recording, is kind of up, like I don't think there's a lot of people that are up in their like high-end Mbappe cards. So
100%. It really reminds me of the Luka Doncic market in that regard. And those guys probably were I guess, Mahomes in football. And,
yeah.
I don't know baseball, but yeah, they just don't come down that much because people are in for them so much.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, he is a great player. It's not like he's a bust or anything. Like he's a great player. So people who bought them may not even want to sell them because, he's still writing his legacy.
Um, you need to send me offline the list that you're looking for. I mean, I know Mbappe and Ronaldo, and I can't do that, but I'm going to Dusseldorf in early
Okay.
July for what's called Card Madness, biggest show in Europe. So I can keep an eye out for those two you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping. I like to share it too around the time of the national. Hopefully somebody finds like a Van Volswinkel gold in a dollar box or something, you can pick it up because I don't. That's the problem. That one, like a lot of them get graded, and but some of them aren't very high pop, and that's one where, like, unless you're a fan, like I don't think people are like looking at that card and grading it, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna flip this." It's just like sort of a no-namer guy. Like all due respect to him, but for the set, it's just like a random guy.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, yeah, I might be able to find it there. Yeah, I'm putting together a list of stuff that people are looking for. So yeah. Anyway, let me know those two
All
names.
right. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah.
And all right, well, on to the man of the year, Mohamed Salah. What a season! What a stud! The Tyreek Hill. Have you revised your comp for him at all since we last spoke?
I don't know. I feel like he's a little more, I don't know. Maybe like Lamar Jackson. He kind of does everything. He can run, he can pass, can score.
I like that.
I don't know. All the assists this year really gave me a new perspective on him. So,
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, you keep thinking about it. I can tell you're not settled. It's not perfect.
yeah.
Um, So well, yeah, just to remind audience, you have pretty amazing collection of his cards. 2017, you have the full rainbow all on PSA 10. To hear that story, go back to our earlier episode. Um, but in our last episode, you mentioned, yeah, basically I'm gonna hang out and kind of look for more, basically red out of 10, which that is usually the case in top soccer, or lower parallels. Of course, the red is incredible for Liverpool and such. So you've picked up a few. I know my favorite, but I'm curious. Why don't we start with you've gotten a couple Galactics recently. How did those? You decided to take the Galactic plunge. You've got two of them, I believe. It's what 2001, 21, and 20 and 21 you have.
Yeah.
How'd you take that dive into the Galactic pool?
Yeah, so I also have the 2017, which is the first year, but it's the one is Roma kit, and I've had it for a while. I think I posted it like probably a couple of years ago. So that one came up. That was one that came up just at auction on eBay, and I was willing to go much higher in my bid, and I ended up getting it for what I thought was like a super reasonable price, given that I think it's still only a pop two, and it's like an 8-year-old set.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, that's awesome. That's like a I kind of look at that as like a very key like Salah card. Yeah, that one. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's it's first galactic. I think galactics in general are like much more rare than people realize just because they're non-numbered. They're not. It's not like a chromium card, right? I think there's like a lot of content around galactics of like why people like them. So then it's kind of been a parallel that I've always kept an eye out for. But again, like they're not easy to find. Like you rarely ever see them. And I found one on Card Hobby. And it was just kind of sitting in my inventory or like my warehouse over there until I finally shipped it home. And then randomly, US MNT Soccer Cards, Alec, had reached out to me, basically saying like for the 2020, he was like, "Hey, I have this Mo Salah Galactic. Are you interested before I sell it?" I was like, "Absolutely." And so we, agreed on a deal. And I just asked, I was like, "Is it?" I just like to ask just so I know, because like I like to grade my cards. It's like, "Is it gradable?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." And it got a 9, so it was like great. Yeah, as long as it doesn't have like bent in half or something, like I'm pretty whatever. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so I got those both. I just graded them. I just got them back, and so they both got 9s, which I think for both is the highest grade. So I mean, I can't really complain about that. So I don't know. It's kind of like serendipity, kind of just luck that you find one in China, uh, find one, just through like a hobby connection, and then happen to find the first one on eBay. So um, yeah, I'm still looking for them, but they just never come up. So
So what years are you missing? They didn't do like 18 and 19 if I'm
no, I have to look. I think it's 22, 23. I'd have to look back because there's also I had a list somewhere at one point, but there's also they have these like inserts that also can be in galactics, like supernova, and there's another one. So I need to look and see if like those are also I need to come up with the full list. Like I wasn't actually expecting to find two of them so fast. Um, but I don't know, it's kind of cool because I mean, these are like 4 or 5-year-old sets, and there's like pop one, pop two, which I assume if people had them, they would be great, or if the right people had them, they'd be grading them because they would know, right, that they're pretty rare. So,
Yeah, they are, and I know Alec kind of likes them in general.
mhm.
And yeah, okay. So the other ones you have a pretty strong run of. Think I got them all right from your Instagram page, but obviously the top's Chrome. You obviously have 2017. That's a red out of 10. They're all red out of 10 in this case. 2019, 2021, and then I think that was all I saw. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I also have the 2021 Red Sapphire, which I think
Correct.
is out of 5. Um, Again, same kind of deal where I've been trying to just pick them up opportunistically as I see them. Um, and luckily, I think the 2019 was like an eBay auction that, was like happy to win for what I thought was a reasonable price. The 2021 was another one. Well, actually, I found that one on eBay, but it was like a buy it now or best offer. And I thought it was like like a reasonable price. So I bought that, graded it, it got a 9. Um, and then the Sapphire was like another one where it was just, yeah, kind of like I'm kind of like in the mix on all these eBay auctions, but I'm also not trying to be like a 2x the market. Like I'm not like that guy. I just can't really afford to be. So I'm always in the mix, and usually, every now and then I grab one for what I would consider to be like a decent price. Maybe not anymore now that he's kind of had the season he's had, but yeah, it's been kind of fun to focus on some of these, especially the red, like the color match, like focus on some of these, low number serial number parallels, color match, and kind of slowly build it out from there.
Yeah, have you noticed this year his prices, they must be rising. Not that he's had a great career the whole time, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's like again, it's not everything because like some of these some of these like more like the galactic type parallels that aren't just like gold, right? Like some of those have been like a little more under the radar, but I mean, I think there was a gold 2017 gold 9 on Card Hobby that recently went for I want to say it went for over 1,000. Which I think that was like a pretty strong price for
Yeah.
at least relative to other other ones. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the problem is like a lot of these really big ones, like like a red 2017, that doesn't really just come up for auction on eBay. I mean, maybe it would come up on like Golden or Fanatics or something. It'd be interesting to see like how high one of those went. Um, but yeah, I think in general, like it's I think he's slowly working his way up the Premier League and like Liverpool, leaderboards to where, he just signed for 2 more years. So assuming he stays healthy, like I think he'll be in pretty rare air by the time that's done. Probably number 2 for Liverpool and probably maybe even number 2 in the Premier League for goals all time. And then who knows with assists. So
Yeah, to me, if Jokic is the kind of guy I would relate to him in basketball. Like, the guy is like awesome. His 5-year run is just incredible recently, but he's Serbian and he's, I don't know. He just doesn't get the attention and is that fair, do you think, that analogy?
I think so. I mean, I think the way he plays, like I think a lot of fans like he's not big, he's not tall, so he's not this like overpowering presence. I think a lot of times people forget he's a winger. He's not a striker, but he basically puts up like striker and number 10 numbers from the wing, which is kind of crazy. Like assists and goals is what I'm referring to. And then I think the big thing is he does so much, like just his presence and like what he does off the ball like really impacts games in a way that is hard to quantify. I mean, I'm sure people can quantify, but it's like it's hard to see if it's not like, oh, this amazing goal, right? It's like, oh, he's getting behind the defense. He's kind of like doing the same thing over and over again. And there's plenty of times where he'll try to cut back on his left and the defender kind of pokes it away. And it's like, oh, but it looks like, oh, he's not very effective, but he's so relentless with it that it only takes like one or two to break through and it can completely change the game. And he just constantly puts pressure on the opposing team and then also opens up for, yeah, I mean, like Liverpool has a lot of other great players too that, you know, makes their lives a little easier as well, just by his presence and the fact that he's, able to have such a big presence, with as such like a small guy, I think that speaks volumes just to his ability.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I know Slot, his style is more, press, 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 like just, that probably feeds him well too, but yeah, it just kind of doesn't have the flashiest plays necessarily. In NBA it's all about the dunks and Jokic just isn't that flashy, for
Yeah.
instance. Um, uh, yeah, I really like 2017 is great, of course. I like 2018. Have you thought about it 20, have you seen the
I
2018?
haven't I haven't seen one. No.
Okay.
I've seen a gold. I think a gold PSA 9 I saw. But yeah, I haven't seen a red yet. The reds are as you can imagine, the reds are pretty rare. especially now. It's just tough to. It's just like you get the color match. It's like you get the color match and you get the like out of 10. It's just like really tough to
Well,
for most Liverpool players. It's tough.
yeah, so that segues well with this out of 10. Your focus is great and it's so like perfect even with PSA like the red label
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
like red 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 10 10 10, all this stuff. It's like it's cool. But you found a card that I absolutely loved was this Topps Chrome UCC 11 in Roman numerals. And it's the 11 out of 11 and his jersey is 11. So
yeah.
you find these I thought that was so cool.
That was just, I mean, that was just like complete luck. Like I saw that parallel came out, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so the reason I even thought about it in the first place was because there's a lot of collectors that will collect like Harry Kane or Bukayo Saka, like all these guys that have single digit or like 10 or less numbers, and they can have all these cool like jersey number matches. And unless I'm doing like an out of 25 or something, it's like it's hard to get. Obviously like the 2017 Chrome Gold 11 out of 50 would be a pretty cool one to have. But there's just not a lot of opportunities for that. And so I was like, oh, this is like out of 11. So there's got to be a Salah 11 out of 11. I just like kind of thought about that and like parked it. And like literally the first one of these that I saw graded on eBay was this one. It was this 11 out of 11. And it was another auction that like I don't know if I mean I'm sure other people noticed it, but I didn't feel like based on like what I was willing to pay versus what I had to pay that it was as big of a factor for other people. Like it just kind of showed up and I was able to put in a strong bid and get it. And I've since had people reach out to me like asking about it, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna sell it. It's just, it's like the perfect jersey match, you know?
It's
It's like,
perfect, man. Yeah, do you have any I mean it's I mean I think of Xi as the Chinese president too, but like it's like kind of
oh yeah.
what is the deal with this this set? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is like, they have like the starting 11 and it's always like the Roman numeral
yeah.
when they kind of talk about starting 11. And so I think they just like, I think part of it honestly is like, hey, we need to make more parallels because we need to increase our print runs. And maybe this was a way they thought of doing one that wasn't like a gold speckle or purple rainbow or whatever, it's like, oh, this is actually like a lower, I don't know, lower parallel. And I kind of like how they do it where like the back is, it's not just like a color, it actually has like a much different like feel to it, So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it's unique. I mean, I'm happy that they did it again this year. So now I gotta look and see if I can find the 11 out of 11 Salah this year. But
Yeah, this
probably
just
not
gets
gonna be as easy to grab as this one was. But yeah, it's I don't know. I kind of just like the Galactics, this stuff. It's like I think in collecting, there's a lot. I mean, obviously, like red refractors are great and popular, but I think there's a lot of things in collecting where, if you're willing to kind of dig in and like look where people aren't looking, like there's some cool things to be collected there. You just kind of have to be like okay with like I guess the way I'll put it is like when I think about my collection, like I'm never gonna have like the best Mo Salah collection in the world because there's plenty of Liverpool Mo Salah collectors that are going to be able to buy probably better cards or already have better cards than I do. But I do think that I'll have like one of the more unique Mo Salah collections in the world, just given the different types of, parallels and whatever that I'm focused on. So that's, it's kind of what just keeps me motivated to keep searching, keep grinding.
Yeah,
Just keep
do you ever consider, kind of consolidating some of your collection? You know, I, looking at a couple that you really, really want. I don't know what you really, really want at this point in terms of
yeah.
what you're doing, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing that I do think about a lot, and especially with, I mean, I don't know if the 2017 Superfractor, if and when that's going to come up, or if somebody just already has it like tucked in a safe somewhere. But I mean, it's not graded, or at least it hasn't. It wasn't the last time I checked. But that's one where I'm sure if that comes up, is going to be like prohibitively expensive, and I would like to be more proactive about consolidating just so that if a card like that came up, I could at least have a chance. Because I know if that came up and it sold, like I'm probably never seeing it again. And I would feel kind of like trapped, like kind of handcuffed, not being able to do anything. Whereas at least if I was proactively, moving some things and had like a stash where I could be like, okay, I could maybe make this work. I think that's the thing is like I've been focused so much on like, oh, that's a cool one, that's a cool one, and just like building out this collection to where now I'm like probably need to do some soul searching around like, okay, are all of these cards really still like doing it for me? Um, or are there some that maybe don't fit the lane of like red refractor or super short print parallel, right? Like maybe those are the two lanes given like where I've been, buying things. And then yeah, maybe it's hey, let's like cut down a little bit and at least put myself in a position to be opportunistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, should I do this? Should I do that? I know I deal with those issues. I know, yeah, I mean, like 2023, I just went nuts with Modric. And but I have since sold quite a few of them. Because I kind of like found the real one I wanted later, of course, and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I gotta the volume got more for me. It was like, okay, it was an easy way to kind of consolidate, to kind of, maybe go in different directions, whatever. But I didn't at the time, I never thought about it. So I don't, I guess I'm saying I'm ahead of you or something in that, but that doesn't
How did
necessarily has to be the case too. So I don't.
Yeah. How did you decide, like when you went through them, like how did you decide which ones you were gonna sell versus the ones that you had ultimately kept?
It was, I mean, I think a little easier than it would be for you because, again, like you've been so focused, I feel like. But it was a 2017. I've bought and sold that card now twice. Blue out of 150 because the color match is really
Mm.
nice.
Oh
I
yeah.
missed it. Um, just I was just trying to get something of every year. And now I'm kind of down to I really like the award winners 2017
Mhm.
insert. I have the red in that,
Yes.
which is pretty cool. And then uh just really special ones that you really can't get back. I mean that was the deal. Like I had a 2008, it's the acetate card.
Oh
Um
yeah. Yeah.
I graded my way into a PSA 9 of that, and it was a
Oh,
pop
nice.
one, but then someone else graded their way into it too. So I was like, all right, I'll let this go. Just hard decisions, but just kind of, I have the 2005 sticker, so that's kind of like that was very expensive, and
Yeah.
it's like kind of enough, for me. So yeah, just being brutal, and I mean, I think most of them I could get back if I wanted to, and I kind of like the thought of like let it go and see if you do miss it, see if you really
Yeah.
do want it back. Yeah, I guess that's my take.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Any kind of hobby in general, thoughts these days. I mean, I can just say from afar, I know, yeah, the last 6 months or so, it's kind of up. Seems like we kind of bottomed out, and at least we're now at a new, relatively ascending level across the hobby. Anything you've noticed along those lines?
Yeah, I think that's right. I've definitely been, I mean, pretty focused on Salah. I mean, I do buy other cards. I actually buy quite a bit, especially from Card Hobby, just to like grade. I just enjoy like buying, grading, selling, like just that process. But I would say my strategy there is usually like, especially now, there's like a new Topps Chrome and a Prism Premier League set. I don't really buy a lot from those sets, mostly because they're always going for like more than what like previous years versions of those cards go for. So I do find that it's a good time to go look at like, you know, earlier Topps Chrome parallels of players because people are looking at the new stuff, right? So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been as like tapped into like the inner workings. I've kind of just been hanging out on the edge, like buying stuff, and if I buy something cool, I'll post it and interacting with people. But yeah, I haven't been as deep in like the market per se
Right.
as I have been in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you and I are similar experiences. We kind of got in hot, excited about it all, and we're slowing down maybe a bit, and obviously you have young kids and job and
Yeah.
all these things too, and yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, we were talking a bit before we recorded. I think it's just like trying to figure out like what are the inputs that you can enjoy and like repeat, you know?
Mhm.
And I think for me, like for a while, it was like I was so deep in just like research and like making content, buying, selling, everything that eventually it was just like, okay, I'm like, this is becoming like a lot. And then once I kind of stopped for a little bit, I realized like, oh, it's like I miss certain parts of it. And like the parts that I miss are the parts that like I still buy cards, grade cards, sell cards, interact with people. But I mean, if I get back to maybe at some point I'll get back to like, hey, I have something important that I want to share, like content wise, and I'll find the fire again. But for now, it's been nice just to kind of buy cards and chat with people, and then yeah, hang out with the kids. Aside from
I
that,
like it, man. Yeah, we can mellow out and still enjoy. And yeah, I mean, have you do you interact with Discord much, or get on those kind of communities?
uh, I did. I was on a couple. I was on like the soccer study one, but that one kind of I don't want to say I actually don't even I haven't been on it in a while, but I know that Andre had transitioned over to like other types of content. And so then I kind of stopped going in there. And then there's been a couple others that I've gone in, but again, it's just like it's like another lane of like time spent in addition to the others. So I like to pop in just to kind of see what's going on, see what people are talking about. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Discord got banned in Turkey maybe about
Oh
a
wow.
year ago or something like that, and you can use a VPN and still get on there, but that extra step just kind of like, all right, I guess I'm off of that. So it was kind of nice to kind of like cut the cord a bit, like
Yeah.
less time on that screen. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I spend so much time I mean, literally every night before I go to bed. And I don't even like doing it, but it's just like because of the time difference, I have to. Like before I go to bed, I'll literally throw bids on Card Hobby
Ah,
because it's like they end while I'm sleeping, or they'll end at like 5 in the morning. So like I could theoretically get up, but I don't always want to. So then if it's like a really, really big card that I really have to get, I will set an alarm to do it. But for the most part, I'll just like, throw a bunch of bids in, like wake up and see what I won, you know? But even that's like, okay, that's like a process every night or every other night or whatever. Um, so it just kind of adds up. Yeah, watching content or I try to listen to more podcasts now just because I can do it while I'm driving to work or I can just do it while I'm out walking. I'm not like sitting in front of a screen. Even though I prefer like visual, you know, stuff, but yeah, it just adds up, and then like when it's family time, it's like, well, yeah, I probably shouldn't be like digging in sports cards while the kids are at home, like
yeah, you got
wanting
plenty
to
of
hang
time later
out.
for that if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
How I like card hobby here because eBay is 5 a.m. for me, but
Mm,
here it's like 5 p.m. or 4 p.m.
yeah.
And I was on it, and then I kind of had a couple issues that made me a little like it all kind of worked out. But how has your experience been for the most part? I just think they kind of have great selection, compared to.
Yeah, I would say the selection is like the best that I can find. I mean, I think the other part of it too is, I mean, you have to be, well, there's two things. One is obviously you have to be careful with condition as you would on eBay. But I do find on Card Hobby, either in the pictures, they're really good about showing like when something's kind of messed up with the card. Versus like eBay, they'll just say near mint or better. And it's like, you don't know, okay, what does this have like a dent in it? Like what's
Right.
going on? Or I mean, even sometimes like if you take the time, like I'll do like Google Translate on like the description, and it'll say sometimes like, oh, this, I don't know, it'll say like that there's like something up with the card. So I've been able to like find pretty good like gradable cards there versus like I feel like on eBay a lot of times, unless it's like really new, it's probably been looked at. And then I would say overall the experience has been good. I mean, I joined it like several years ago, and it was like when their customer support was like just some Gmail address, like some guy on a Gmail address. Um, I would say the only like criticism I would have of Card Hobby is, well, there's two. One is that sometimes it seems like their like the volume and like what's going on is more than what their like support teams can handle. So it's like I'll request a shipment and it'll be like there was one point where I think they had some sort of holiday or something where I was like waiting for a month for my cards to ship. And I was like, hey, are these gonna ship? And then, they're just kind of like not a great like level of
Yeah.
support, like telling me here's what's happening. And then I'll get the cards, and every now and then there'll be one that's like missing, even though it says on my account, like, hey, this was shipped. So I have to be like, hey, is this still there? Can you include it? And they have included it in like subsequent shipments, but it's not as like if I wouldn't have noticed it or saw it, like maybe it would have just got included in the next shipment or not. But like that's kind of dicey, especially if it's like a nice card. The only other thing I would say is like sometimes I notice like a card will go for a large amount of money on Card Hobby, like more than I would have ever expected it to go. And I was like, well, that's gone. And then it'll literally show up on eBay like 3 days later, and it's always like one of two accounts that seem like there's like some shill activity going on. So I think you just have to be careful with like really trusting like, okay, this is like if this card is going this high, like maybe something's happening. And then yeah, there's I think a lot of people know like the classics like Merzont collection,
Yep.
um, Toll Card World. Like
Yep.
there's like some eBay sellers that are I think pretty known as the like, oh, this was just on Card Hobby and now it's on eBay. And then if it sells on eBay, it'll be on eBay again in like 2 days because, so you just have to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That mirrors my experience for the most part. Well, cool, man. Great catching up with you. Let's go Liverpool next year. Let's get a cork chew transfer to to that.
Do
And
it. I'm in.
yeah, and thanks so much for coming on again. It's great seeing you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Great talking to you.